There's gonna be some cases when I go down a little bit lower, but that's gonna be more when my training partner starts turning his chest down to the ground, okay? Hands on the floor. When I'm initially picking up his leg, I want my shoulder right in the hip. You guys see that? And my head is right here. And I like knees pinched, okay? As much as possible. They don't have to be squeezing, okay? But I want to close that gap. I don't want to be out here too much and allow him to have that leg free to start going and putting his foot down on the ground and defending me here, okay? It's gonna make it easier for me to support that leg when I have my elbows in and have those knees closed, okay, here, okay? And now from this position, I'm gonna be able to move my training partner around using my head. See, my head drives into him to push him backwards. My shoulder pushes him forwards, and I'm constantly moving him here in this position, okay? And I'm setting myself up to go to any one of the finishes that we're gonna see later on in the video. So, it's just important that we maintain the good structure, good control when we stand up, okay, when we actually get up to the leg. Most common thing I see is people get up to the leg and I tell them to bring their head up, but they extend the arms. He's gonna put his foot down every time, he's gonna break my grip. Okay, he's gonna be able to push me away. I don't want that. I want connection to him at all points. At my legs, above the knee. My hands are always locked above the knee. I'm sucking in, so I'm connected to his leg through my torso. My head's connected to him. I'm using it to move him and to manipulate his body over here. Okay, so he puts himself in a strong base, okay, but I'm still able to take him out of balance. And I keep him hopping on that leg, and that allows him to control this leg for a longer period of time. Now, being realistic, more than 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds, okay, depending on your opponent, depending on your skill level, it's gonna be hard to hold on to that leg, okay? But ideally, we're finishing from there. And we're not staying in this position, okay? We're gonna go over a bunch of different finishes for the single leg. I'm not gonna stay here forever, okay? I'm going to a finish from here. Okay, this is my ideal position to start going into my different finishes. Once I'm on my feet, now we can go into a variety of different ways to pick legs up, okay, to run the fight, to switch to different finishes, okay? But it's important that we get into this habit, okay, of one, shooting in with proper position, as we discussed before, upper body, lower body, hand positioning, the drive leg, driving through my opponent, and when we stand up, we have to keep that posture, we have to keep that control. So as I'm here, I'm driving up. Look at my head, my temple is pushing into his chest. My shoulder is right at his hip. Okay, this is key. I'm high up on the leg. I'm high up above the knee. My knees are not squeezing here because if I'm squeezing, I can't move around. But I'm closing the amount of space that his leg has to move. So I can pull him around, but I'm still shuffling. I'm still using my shoulder, I'm using my head, and my back is straight and my elbows are sucked in. And in doing it this way, we're gonna have a lot more control of our training partner on the feet, and it's gonna set up our finishes a lot easier. All right, guys, so I just wanna touch on something that's important, which is one of the main dangers, or two of the main dangers, I should say, associated with the single leg, okay, in jiu-jitsu. And they're very easy to kind of negate, but it's important to always be aware of them. Okay, you always want to be aware of what he can do in a position. Okay, when you want to master a position. So that's the idea of neck exposure and belt exposure. Those are the two main things outside of traditional defenses like sprawls, which we're going to take a look at later on, that he's going to be looking to do when I get a hold of his leg, okay? So it's very easy to negate these, okay? We just need to make sure that we keep a couple of things. We're very disciplined with a couple of details. So when I get in on his leg, okay, and I stand up with the leg, if I do a good job at maintaining head position, just like so, and maintaining, and maintaining my shoulder strong on my training partner's hip and my head nice and high, from here, you can see that it's more difficult for him to get a hold of my neck for a guillotine, okay, or for a loop choke. It's a little bit more difficult than if my head was down here. Okay, here he can easily get a hold of my head, okay, because he's much higher than me. He can get his hand in for into my collar. Yep, and start looking to attack a loop choke, okay? Because my head's low. If my head's low, I'm gonna be in a little bit more danger, okay? This is specific to jiu-jitsu as well because, you know, you don't have guillotines and stuff in wrestling that they can tap you out with. So in jiu-jitsu specifically, I want to try to keep my head up a little bit higher over here and use it to drive, okay? And this is just a beneficial way for us to attack our training partner, but it's also important to make sure that we defend avoid any kind of neck attack, okay? Any kind of choke that he tries to get on me, okay? Now, obviously, we're talking about the standing position here, but we're, like I said before, we're not staying here, okay? One of the best ways for us to avoid any sort of counter of his is me being offensive and me being active, okay? If I'm offensive, he's in a defensive mode, okay? That's just the way it goes. So I want to make sure that when I'm in this position, I'm still keeping in mind, I'm using my head, I'm using my shoulder, I'm walking and I'm moving, okay? I'm keeping him out of balance. See how he has to hop on that leg? I'm pulling him, I'm driving him, I'm putting weight on the hip, putting weight with the shoulders, okay? And it's under these circumstances that he's going to be less inclined to get a hold of my neck because he's worried about catching his balance, okay? If we're on our knees, same thing, we still want to be careful, okay, of him stuffing my head going to a guillotine, okay? But that's why I don't want to stay on my knees that long, okay? It's like we talked about before. I'm not here for more than a split second, okay? I'm up to my feet, okay? And with any one of the grips that we talked about, okay? And I'm keeping that in mind. I'm moving him, okay? And I'm keeping my head up and I'm using it to drive and to stay connected to him. Okay, if it's connected to him, it's hard for him to separate, get a hold of my neck, okay? The next thing, guys, is belt exposure, okay? Or even just back exposure in general, okay? And I don't mean this in a sense of him taking the back, but for example, if Ty has me in a single leg, okay, a very common defense or counter attack to a single leg is going to be sumigation, okay? Most common one from this situation is he controls my hand and he controls my belt, okay, or my back. And then from here, he can start stepping and looking to roll me, okay? So he's going to have the defending person, okay, in this case, he has a hold of my leg real well. I'm balancing on one leg. He's going to either try to get a hold of my neck somehow or get a hold of my belt in certain cases to get to roll me through, okay? So it's important that I don't give him a chance to even think about this, okay? I want to keep him out of balance and looking for his base constantly, okay? And that's what's going to allow me to get to a good finish and to prevent those counters from him, okay? And as I mentioned before, we're not going to be staying in this position for very long in most cases, okay? So we're going to go into finishes later, which are going to just completely negate those counters as well. So, but just important to be aware of those, okay? Neck exposure and belt exposure, okay? Keeping the guy active. Be aware that that's always going to be a threat. And if you stay active on the feet and you keep him looking for his balance, keep him uncomfortable, you're going to negate those attacks a lot more. All right, guys, so let's just recap on all the different concepts and all the little points that we touched on right now from the single leg, okay, just so that we get a kind of a general understanding of everything and how it comes together, okay? So we started down from the ground first, okay, because I wanted us to understand the single leg as a position, okay, how we control the position, how we stand up, how we pick up the leg, and how we actually get the right reaction out of our opponent to set up the good, the finish, okay? So we take our shot, boom, and then we land in position, okay? I want, again, 3 feet in a line. So our 3 feet are gonna form one line. This is ideal, okay? We want a drive leg, and we want our hips, our knees, our hips, our shoulders stacked, and I want connection to my training partner through my shoulder, through my head, okay, my temple driving into my training partner here, okay? When our hands lock, guys, our upper body, our strength doesn't come from the connection of our hands, it comes from us drawing our elbows in, okay? Engaging those large muscle groups that's gonna allow us to hold onto this leg a lot more effectively for a longer period of time, okay? We lock in, remember always, when we're locking hands, we're talking about connecting our actual hands, whatever grip you guys choose to use, we want to always have this hand protected. We want the outside hand, the back, the one coming through the legs. We want it to cover, okay? Whichever grip we use, whether it's gable, wrist to wrist, hand over wrist, okay? We also saw a high, hand low finish without our hands locked, okay? We want to make sure that we keep these things in mind, okay? And our elbows are always being drawn in, okay? For the upper body, in order for us to be strong, it's not going to be from our arms, it's going to be from our elbows, okay? Driving off that leg, standing up, keeping him hopping, pulling in, head position, nice and tight on my training partner's head, using my shoulder to put pressure on my training partner's hips, okay? I want that leg to be heavy, okay? The one he's standing on should feel weight. He can tell you right now that weight, try to pick that leg up. Okay, it's really hard, and every time he tries to pick it up, I'm moving him around. Okay, my hands don't lock below the knee, they lock above the knee, so we can suck that leg in, okay? So, we have to make sure that we keep all these concepts in mind as we're drilling the technique. Okay, we have to make that second nature, okay? We have to maintain all these different structures in place throughout the entirety of the move and whatever finish we're trying to do. And ultimately, keep all these pieces come together in order for me to actually get to the position where now I'm gonna start going into different finishes, bringing the legs high, okay, and all the different finishes that we're gonna go over